Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back, and I don't think we have anybody new today, but welcome back. So we're going to start off with our lesson. So you should have 2 sheets of paper, and if you could please share with somebody beside you. So I never know how many to print. Actually, can I borrow yours and y'all share, and I'll give it right back to you because I gave them all out. So the first one is a little bit quicker. I think 2 weeks ago, someone asked me about seasonal produce. So this is a guide. It's a front and back sheet, and it'll show you what fruits and vegetables are in season, depending on what season we're in. And so not only is this important to know that, because you should know when you go to the grocery store that you see stuff shipped from all over the world, it's not even in season here and it may not taste as good, but it's also going to be cheaper because it's in season. So right now we're going into spring. So you're seeing lots of asparagus. Asparagus is on sale. You see all this, you see lots of collards. These are the things that are cheaper in your produce section. So especially for the ones you want to buy organic, right? It's even cheaper because it's in season. So you want to eat locally and eat in season. You want to go to your local farmer's market or the gas station, the grocery store. The grocery store. And you can talk to your produce manager if they don't have it clearly labeled where it came from. Most of them, I know Harris Teeter likes to say which farm it came from and all that. So, get to know, and then most of those farms are public farms. You can go out there, you can see how they grow the food, if they put any crap on the dirt. I mean, they tell you all that, and they're very proud to show it to people. So it's something to be aware of. So this is what you should be looking for. And the diseases of that people tend to get during the seasons the foods are to fight those. So you always want to try to eat in season as much as possible. Okay, that's what it's meant for. So any questions about this? I can email it to you all. Okay, sorry about that. All right, we're good. So y'all have that. All right, so the next part of our lesson will be more communicative. We're going to do more of a sharing thing. So I wanted to talk about the 5 pillars of health. Since we only have 3 classes left, so just as a reminder, we will not be here the next 2 Sundays. The next Sunday we're out of town. The following Sunday they're closed for Easter. Okay. So we will be back here on the 16th of April, which is crazy. So crazy. Hey, Mike, we just got started, so you haven't missed much. And I think there's a seat here. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to talk about the 5 pillars of health, because I really want to make sure that you're not just getting recipes that you might implement in your own kitchens, but that you're taking away some knowledge to make yourselves healthier and your family and friends healthier. So I wanted to kind of summarize some of these things. So we're going to go around the room and kind of read from here. So the first pillar of health is protect. And it says to neutralize free radicals with antioxidants. I see we have Yvonne back, which I'm so happy that you're here. And I remember the last time you were able to give us an example of what a free radical is, dude. You did. I remember you stood up and everything.
Yeah. Okay, you want me to do it?
Yeah.
I believe the free radical, I remember from class,
You forgot? That's okay. Anybody else want to help? You did. You nailed it too. Anyone want to help Yvonne out with what are free radicals and antioxidants? What are they?
a glass door. It's like a glass, right?
Yeah.
Free radical, you are glass, and the free radical is the ones that shatter the glass, which is in your cells, which causes your cells to go all kinds of ways. So the free radical is the bad guy, and the glass is you, and it hits against it to break it, and then you do all that stuff.
And what fights the free radical bad guy?
A hammer.
Well, in this case, it'll be the antioxidant. Yeah, that's okay. You were in the ballpark. So that was the visual we gave. So free radicals are, so anything that's oxidized in life, when you see something that's oxidized, it is what? It tends to be rusted, right? So that's what happens with your cells, okay? The oxidation in your cells. So that to prevent your cells from oxidizing, you need antioxidants, right? You can only get antioxidants from plant foods, from the phytochemicals in plant foods. So that's why there's certain foods that are significantly higher than others in antioxidants. So let's see. Well, Yvonne, would you read underneath, read the protect where it says phytochemicals? On the under protect.
Under protect. Free radicals with antioxidants. Is what's that big word?
Phytochemicals.
Phytochemicals found in plants. And what's the next word?
So the prefix phyto means plant in the Greek. Okay, so anytime you hear phyto anything, like they love to say phytoestrogens, that means plant estrogens. Anytime phyto means plant. Okay.
Phyto is Greek for, continue.
Greek for plants are antioxidant, AO. Significance of AO is what?
Antioxidants.
Antioxidant.
Yep.
When we eat plants, we eat them AO, and other bodies are able to utilize them and neutralize the free radicals, oxidate, and prevent the reviewing of damage. And reverse the damage to the cells.
Yep. And so I listed a couple of colorful plant foods that are high in antioxidants. So what are those?
Colorful plant foods such as berries, kale, melon, carrots. Oh, I always get that wrong.
Brussels sprouts.
I always call it cabbage. And peppers may help protect the cells.
Yes. So you all understand? Can everyone hear, Yvonne? Okay, so the key here is to protect ourselves from oxidation, right? That's what causes the aging. That's what causes the slowdown. That's when they say, oh, you're just part of getting older. It's the oxidation that's happening that you can prevent or significantly slow down. So if you're increasing your plate, hey guys, they always look. They don't ever want to come in, right? Hey, how are you? If you want to slow that down and feel younger and younger as we get older and older, you want to make sure you're consuming as many antioxidants as possible and making sure that your plate is not a plate of brown. Okay, like I see so many times in the United States, this is fried this, fried that, and no nothing. Okay, just you need to see color on your plate, and it should be as raw as possible in the way that you'll consume it and enjoy it. Okay, so that will help protect your cells. Everyone understand point number one in terms of optimal health? Yeah. Okay. All right. So number two is repair. We want to repair damaged cells. Who wants to read this? The next paragraph. Go ahead.
Damage to cells begins the second we are born and continues throughout our lifetime. Over time, damaged cells can cause disease, for example, cancer and heart disease. The goal is to either repair a cell or promote its death. There are compounds in foods that may encourage both. Foods that help repair cells include folate-rich foods like leafy green vegetables, asparagus, oranges, cruciferous vegetables such as cauliflower, broccoli, arugula, alums such as garlic and onions.
Perfect. So the second we're born, we start to die is what you always hear, right? And so not only because of the stuff we might be putting down our throats, but because our world is toxic and becoming more and more toxic every day. Just breathing air or touching things, it's just very toxic. So we want to be mindful of that. Now, our bodies are designed to heal themselves. There's a thing called autophagocytosis that automatically kills cells, but you have to supply it with the right nutrients it needs to do that. So one thing, if you're eating all day long, okay, your body doesn't have a chance to actually fight, heal, and repair because it's got to worry about digesting whatever you keep munching on, okay? Give your body a break, okay? Ideally, you should only eat while the sun is up. And when the sun is down, you should be shutting it down too, okay? And so that's just what it needs to be. You don't need to eat more than 8 to 10 hour span of time in a day. All right, so some people now, the trend is calling it intermittent fasting like it's something new. No, it's not, okay? It's natural, it's how we're supposed to eat. So if you're a person like, well, I gotta have a snack before bed, that's mental, it's an addiction, it's a habit, you gotta change it, okay? Because now while you're sleeping, when you're supposed to be healing and repairing your body and getting rid of those cells that could become cancerous, your body's digesting your food, which is it's gonna lessen your quality of sleep. That's what you don't want to do, okay? You don't want to drink right before bed and have to get up and pee in the middle of the night. Don't do that. 3 or 4 hours before bed, you need to just be shutting it down. shutting it down, and stop eating all the time. Okay, that's the main culprit is people are just eating from the time they wake up to the time they go to sleep. They have a lunch, snack, breakfast, a snack, another snack, a dinner, another snack, and a late night snack. I'm just like, okay, so your body really only does one thing at a time. Okay, it does one thing at a time. That's what it does. So when it's digesting, that's what it's doing. When it's healing, that's what it's doing. It can't do both at the same time. All right, so you just be mindful of that. And so when you want to, that's how you hear so many people that when they change their lifestyle, not just what they eat, but their lifestyle and their thoughts, everything holistically, this is how they get rid of the cancer and never comes back. Because now their bodies has the time to heal. They're putting the proper nutrients in their bodies to heal. They have energy that's abundant, because if you don't have energy, if you don't have the basic nutrients for your body to create the energy that you need, it doesn't have the energy to even kill off or ward off anything. That's why your immune system becomes compromised, your digestive system gets compromised. So it's very important, okay? So I know I'm kind of kidding, but I'm serious. Like, try to just make sure you're putting good things in your body so you can have this abundant energy, and it can actually heal the stuff that needs to be healed in your body. Like, when my fibroids disappeared, and like I said, all this energy I have naturally now, I feel so much younger. I'm 40 and I feel 20, okay? Literally, because when I was 20, I felt 80. No lie, like no exaggeration. It was a struggle, okay? So yeah, I don't feel like I look 40. I don't feel 40. Somebody keeps asking my age. I'm just like, how old am I? Like, like seriously, I'm like, Demond, how old am I? Oh, okay, I just turned 40. Yeah, I should know that. Okay. All right, number 3, normalize. Sharon, okay.
Normalization of blood sugar, insulin, and hormones. Chronically high blood sugar and insulin levels may contribute to a state of inflammation that can increase the risk of certain chronic diseases. Low glycemic index foods prevent spikes in blood sugar and excessive insulin release. Foods that support the normalization of blood sugar, insulin, and hormone levels include low glycemic vegetables, fruits, and whole grains, such as berries, asparagus, spinach, almonds, and cucumbers.
That's awesome. What's our takeaway from there? We've talked about this topic a lot in this class, and we're always very conscious about not spiking our blood sugars and our insulin levels, and balancing our hormones. What are some things that you've heard us talk about over the course of being in the class, even if it's your second class? We definitely still talked about it. What are some things that you recall? Yeah, Deb?
That dark berries is very, very, very good.
Berries are cleansing. Berries are low on the glycemic index. So very, very good for maintaining that. What is something else we do in general? What's something we want to make sure with everything that we eat, every major meal that we eat, that we have enough of so that our hormones will stay balanced, that our blood sugars don't spike, our insulin levels don't go through the roof? What do we always want to be conscious of?
Nutrients, because you gotta get foods that have no nutrients in it, then your sugar will spike.
You're right. And you're so close. Which nutrient? Which nutrient? You're getting warm. Yes, Iron got it. Fiber. Yes, so you said it right. You said it right. So that's the nutrient we need. You want to make sure that you have enough fiber, okay? So like I told you all before, most Americans get their fiber, and this is no lie, from French fries and the buns on hamburgers. And from the demonstration, for those who weren't here, I had done a demonstration where I took a piece of whole grain bread and a piece of white bread, put them on a saucer, and then to mimic our stomach acid, I took a cup of orange juice. I poured it over each one. I let it sit for like 5 or 10 minutes. I picked up the white bread. It was totally disintegrated. I picked up the whole grain bread. It was still fully intact. And then I asked the class, what does this tell you about when you're eating this? What's happening to your body? And they learned, because the white bread disintegrates so quickly, your blood sugar goes through the roof, insulin levels go up, and you feel less satiated, because the non-fiber that's in that bread, it just fiddles away from the stomach acid. Whereas the whole grain will keep you fuller longer. It will not spike your blood sugar or your insulin levels, and the fiber helps to get rid of excess hormones that you might have. So this is why we want to eat things whole. This is why we don't want white flour, white sugar, or white rice, because it's been stripped of all of its nutrients and all its fiber. So those are things that always really to keep in mind. So you get used to a certain flavor. Some people are like, oh, I don't like the weedy taste. Okay, you've learned to to like chemicals, and it's not even your fault, okay? People go to school to become food scientists to manipulate our taste buds to see what will make you like something more. And something we've talked about earlier, maybe in the last previous iteration of this class, I expressed to people that when you're eating something that you know is not really good for you, it's because all of your senses are competing, because they'll have fat, sugar, and salt in the same thing. And then I said, in nature, you will not find any food in nature that has fat, sugar, and salt together. It has one thing or the other, okay? If you eat an avocado, it's fat, okay? It's hardly any salt in it, it's hardly any sugar in it, okay? If you eat a date, it's full of fiber and sugar, hardly any fat, hardly any salt, right? So when they put all those things together in one, what they call a food, and then put all these other chemicals and stuff on it, it becomes addictive, okay? This is why, particularly in modernized countries, everyone is overweight or obese, or now they have super obese because of these foods that they've created to make you addicted. So then when you eat a fresh apple, it doesn't taste sweet to you because the processed sugar is so artificially sweet, you have to let your taste buds change. And who recalls how long does it take for you to get new taste buds? Close. Close, double it. 2 weeks. So something you eat today, if you keep at it, in 2 weeks, you will most likely like it. Because if you've been programmed to eat the junk, you know, now, like before I knew anything about this, I used to go and get those chicken supremes from Bojangles, okay? I was in that drive-thru, okay? Now even just, I can smell the chemical without even taste. I can smell it. Okay, like it's just your palate becomes very discriminate when you eat clean. You can't go back to, even if you think you want that, your body doesn't want you to have that, and then your digestion is like, we'll try to expel it as quickly as possible. It's like, what are you doing? We've been on a good track. You're trying to take us back.
I agree. I had an indulgence.
Okay.
And I went to Chipotle.
Okay.
And I get the sofritos and the brown rice and stuff that I typically get. They did not have any brown rice. I got white rice. Oh my gosh! It affected my life that day. I could tell the difference.
Really?
Because I haven't eaten white rice I know at least since I've been coming here. And so it definitely had an impact. And I agree that not using or not having or not eating these things, your palate is able to discriminate.
Yes. Yeah. Very, very clearly. Smell and taste. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to know, what do you think about sourdough bread?
Sourdough bread is one of those exceptions.
Okay. Because
Yeah, since I've been going to your class and missed a couple of months, I have noticed as I was going, the chicken, because I do the plant-based,
Right.
the soil chicken that you get in
Yeah.
the first session of classes, it doesn't taste the same. And I can convince people to eat it because I got this recipe that makes them think it's chicken. So they don't have a problem. And the everything burger, Beyond Real burger, I have a key to that. So I tend to notice that the meats no longer, they taste like rubber. The plant-based tastes, the milk, I never would suck a cow milk again. It's the plant-based milk, it's just like regular meat. And I'm convincing my daughter, which I fooled her with the Italian everything burger, that made it like a spaghetti. And put the kale, I did the kale, but I didn't know how to kale up good. I refuse to kale.
Oh, I know y'all hooking it up.
Put the blueberries in that kale, so I mean, that's with that kale. Yes, it has. And I pray to God that you stay the way you are, and give everybody the energy that you have with that knowledge you got.
Yvonne, you're so kind. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's really true. And like I said, I was a former cheeseaholic and severe sugar addict. Okay. And then with the conditions I had, it makes you crave more of that stuff too. So my gut was all jacked up. I can't even, just to think about it makes me want to throw up, right? So if you give your body the chance, because you didn't get here overnight, right? And so when people start eating healthier, like, I don't want it to taste healthy, like, you have to get used to that because that's what you should want. You're just used to the chemicals and the processing, okay? Just remember, in nature, it does not occur naturally in nature. This has been programmed for you to be addicted to it so that you continue to buy it. It's not in your health's best interest. Okay, so when you just think about that, it might make you want to make a different decision where you're like, they're trying to get me addicted to this and it's been successful and I want to stop it, okay? So I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying it can absolutely be done. Just stay at it and be kind to yourself, okay? Because all this is still self-love. You need to look in the mirror every day and tell yourself that you love yourself. If you don't feel that way sincerely, if you don't wake up knowing that, you need to keep telling yourself that so that you embody that. And when you love yourself, you're not going to intentionally hurt yourself. You're not going to intentionally make yourself sicker, especially when you've gotten some of this knowledge. Okay, it's very important that this is a self-love thing that we're doing here. All right, you have to care for yourself. And if you don't do it, no one else will, because your doctor sure as hell is not going to do it. That's not what they're there for. Unfortunately, that's not how the system is set up. It's there to suppress your symptom, not to eliminate the root cause of it. All right, so you are responsible for your health. That's why we're in this class. Don't put your health in somebody else's hand. My hands, a doctor's hands, anybody else's hand. You are responsible for your health. Okay, so yeah.
Do you have any tips on breaking the sugar addiction?
Lots. The main thing I would say, typically when you're addicted to sugar, you don't have anything bitter in your life. That's the antithesis. You need to eat more bitters. You can do digestive bitters, assuming you still have your gallbladder, assuming that you don't have any open current active ulcers. You need to do bitters. And when you drink, if you drink and eat bitters, your desire for sugar plummets. That's number one. Number two, you need to eat more fruits and dark leafy greens because you're nutrient deficient. But that's a whole thing. We can do a whole class on that. But this off gate, that's simply that I can say generically on camera, bitters. Okay, that way I don't have any legal issues. We gotta talk. I can't say that. Yes, if you don't have a gallbladder, it's a different process. We gotta talk through. And if you have had any internal bleeding or have ever had a history of ulcers and you don't know if you currently have an ulcer, then we need to talk about that. Yeah. Off camera, off all that. Rashidi, please cut this out. Okay?
Bitters, do you mean like the bitters you put in a cocktail? I mean, what is bitter?
So, yes.
Yes?
Depending on which ones, you're talking about the ones for the cocktail, but there's actually ones they made for digestive bitters.
Okay.
So you can make your own, you can get some from me, or you can go to different herbal shops around that sell digestive bitters. They have soursop bitters, they have black seed oil bitters. You can make your own bitters, or you can just take dandelion, sarsaparilla, gentian root, burdock root, and boil it, and then that's your bitter, and then drink on that, you know.
Go to Morby. Morby, there's a whole Caribbean plant, West Indian plant. It's Morby. They make tea out of it. It's quite bitter.
Then yes, bitter is good for your liver and your gallbladder, and bitter also suppresses the desire for sugar. And so most Americans, they dislike sour unless it's artificially sour, like Sour Patch Kids or something, and they dislike bitter. And so in the American cuisine, we don't have those balance of flavors. It's either salty, savory, or sweet. And we discount sour and bitter, and you need all of them in balance. So, and when you don't have it, so when you, for example, in an Asian country, they make sure every dish has all five.
So you say bitter melon and stuff like
Yes,
that.
it's all part, even in West African you have to have that balance, and then it keeps everything else in balance. You can't just veer to one side. Yeah.
Would you call a bitter like something like that's fermented, like kimchi?
So
Is that in a different category?
it's in a different category because that's going to fall, kimchi specifically going to fall under a probiotic category. With this fermentation process, it's not that it doesn't do anything else, but its primary function is to help feed the good bacteria in the gut because of the fermentation. So miso, kimchi, that's going to fall under that category more so as a probiotic. Yep. Okay, where were we? So we finished normalize. Boost. Okay, Mike, would you mind reading Boost?
Sure. Detoxification is one of the best ways to limit toxicity and boost your immunity. Compounds in foods such as fiber, only found in plants, and antioxidants support the liver in clearing toxins from the body. Caring for your gut
Biome.
biome is another way to boost immunity. Foods that may boost immune functions include broccoli, cauliflower, berries, arugula, and fermented foods.
You might be seeing a trend with these foods I keep recommending on each one, right? You might be seeing a trend. Maybe, perhaps, there might be some conspiracy there. Okay, means these are foods that you really should incorporate on a regular basis. Okay, so yes, boosting your immune function. So your immune function, your immune system and your digestive system overlap by about 70%, 60 to 70% depending on your age. Overlap. So when you're fixing your digestive health, you're building up your immune system. When you're building up your immune system, you're fixing digestive. They're linked. They're inextricably linked. Okay, so that's the first thing. And then when people always talk about detox, just be clear. Our cells detox. Our bodies cleanse. And if you want to do what people are thinking of as a detox, if you're not cellularly detoxing the cells and cleansing the body, you're not doing what you think you're doing. I'm not saying it's bad. You're on the right path, but you're not there. You're not truly expelling everything. So you have to do it at a cellular level. Now, from a body level, we've talked about this many times. What are the 4 main ways we expel waste? We exhale, we sweat, we poop, and we pee. Okay, so those are the 4 primary ways that our bodies cleanses itself. From a detoxification standpoint, and for our cellular healing, it's about the nutrients that you're putting in so that the cells can heal and repair and excrete the things out the cells. Now, if you all recall, one day I kind of got a little bit scientific. I tried not to go too far into the science here, but I brought a plant cell picture and an animal cell picture. When I did the flowers, you all recall, and I put one had green food coloring in it and one had nothing, and you saw that the white flower with the green food coloring started to turn green, which represented the crap they spray on our food. Because people are like, oh, I just wash it off. No, you can't wash off what's inside of the food, right? We talked about that, and so we said, like, because a plant can't pee and poop, it can only expel stuff once it gets up in the petals. The only way it can get it out is all the way back down to the roots, back out into the soil. How long does that take? So what it does so it doesn't die, a plant cell, how it's different from a human cell, it has this huge thing inside the cell called a vacuole, if you all recall. So anything that is super acidic or dangerous that would kill the plant, it stores it in there so it can continue to proliferate. That's what it does. So that's what you're eating when you're not buying things that are organic, when it's not grown in like that black gold soil. That's what you're ingesting. So just washing off the topical stuff, it's a step. It's good, but you're still eating those toxins. Okay, that's why it's important to eat organic. It's important to know how things are affecting the body. And this is the stuff that, you know, it's about money. It's not about your health. Okay, where was I going with that? You know, I get on my soapboxes and then I get lost in that. Okay, but oh yeah, so that's why. So the cellular cleansing, the cellular detox, and the body cleansing. Those are the things you want to be doing really every day. But if you go on what they call a cleanse or a detox, you have to make sure you're doing both of them and make sure whoever is leading that knows what they're talking about. So you can get all that crap out of you because it can come out, right? It doesn't feel great. You're going to feel not so great when you go through these things because your body's getting rid of it. So you're going to feel down, but you'll feel better in the end. Any question on that? Hey, Coretta. Yeah.
How long does it take for full detoxification?
Okay, so that's a great question, and hopefully I won't go on my other soapbox on that. The short answer is the body heals in 28-day cycles. 28-day cycles. So when you see these 3-day cleanses, 7-day cleanses, it's a start. Okay, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying for the body to go through all, because it's a process. Like I said, the body is one thing at a time. It has a hierarchy of how it does the things that it does. So to get through the full cycle, you need 28 days minimum to do a full, proper, quote unquote, as they say, detox, which is all marketing terms, right? But for a full detox, a minimum of 28 days. So anything beyond that is even better. So if you want to do a general detox, that's 28 days. And then the next detox I would suggest would be a liver detox, another 28 days. Then after that, I would do a kidney detox. And then you have the full, because those are our elimination organs. Those are our filtering organs, right? So you do a general body detox, then you do your liver, then you do your kidneys. So it'll be a 90-day thing to do it ideally for the body, for how the body's designed to work, for it to actually have lasting results, assuming that after on day 91, you don't go back to what you were doing before. Yes. But when you see these things, they say it's a weekend detox, or yeah, that's a great start. Do it. Do it. And build, if you're a person that has to build up, you can't just jump in head first, then do that. But don't think that you're going to get the full, that you have not cellularly detoxed in that amount of time because the body's not there yet. Okay. And like I said, that's a whole conversation that I could do, a whole separate class on detox. I'm very passionate about that because I know that's what healed my body personally. Okay. Well, Darlene, would you want to go ahead and read control?
Control inflammatory response. All plants, especially those rich in color, have been shown to have anti-inflammatory properties. Foods that may boost the anti-inflammatory response include berries, turmeric, beets, mushrooms, onions, garlic, and rich foods in omega-3s such as hemp seeds, ground flax, chia seeds, and walnuts.
Yes. So thank you for letting me use this. So anti-inflammatory, you hear all these anti-inflammatory diets, this is anti-inflammatory, and it starts to become a marketing thing, right? So understand what it is. The main thing that is anti-inflammatory are omega-3 fatty acids, which are essential because our bodies don't produce them on their own, essentially. It kind of does a little tiny bit, but we have to get them through food. So most like omega-3, 6s, and 9s are essential to the human body, but we eat mostly 6s and 9s, which are pro-inflammatory. Okay, so we have to make sure we're consciously aware of where are we getting, hey Heather, where are we getting our omega-3s? And so these are the best plant-based sources of it, because you're going to hear people say salmon, and yes, salmon and mackerel have omega-3s in it. It has other stuff in it, like that we're not going to talk about right now, but it has other things in it. But yes, those are non-plant sources of omega-3s. But for where the fish get their omega-3s is here. They get it from the algae. They get it, so that's why sea moss is so good, right? They eat the algae, and that's what gives them the omega-3. So we just go straight to the source, and then you get all the amino acids, or what they call protein. You get all the amino acids with it instead. And that actually is anti-inflammatory. Now, when you go to your doctor, if you are concerned that you have a lot of inflammation, there's a test that you can get run. It's called a C-reactive protein, and it's an indication to see if it's high. That means there's a lot of inflammation in the body, and that means you really, really need to clean house. When you have a lot of inflammation in the body, it typically leads to heart disease. It's really linked to that, and that's one of the preventable lifestyle diseases that this class is trying to help folks prevent, because you don't have to have heart disease. So just be aware that that's a test that you can ask for on your lab, C-reactive protein. It's the letter C dash reactive protein, CRP, C-reactive protein. And it's an indicator. It's one of the many indicators, but that's another indicator that can see if you're, where you are. You can ask for that. And then if you're eating a diet that is pro-inflammatory, or like hot dogs, you're going to have inflammation, okay? And it's so easy to write off like, oh, I'm getting older. Oh, I was standing up for too long. Your body's not supposed to do that, okay? Like, it knows how to handle it. But if you're not giving it what it needs in the right proportions, you're going to have these things that they're calling normal in this country, because they're trying to normalize sickness so that you can continue buying the pills and going to the doctor and all that stuff. So, and I'm not saying don't go to your doctor. Okay, that's not the gist here. I'm saying don't put your health in your doctor's hand. Your doctor works for you and not the other way around. Okay, and if your doctor's not on board with getting you what you need, then you need to go to another doctor, because they work for you. Okay, I think that's a little soapbox right there. Any other questions or comments?
What about fish oil supplements?
I detest fish oil supplements, not because I'm vegan and I hate to say the word vegan, not because I don't consume animals and don't think they should die needlessly and all that thing. It's because the number one thing, most of the fish oils that are sitting on the market are rancid. You know, just think about it. If you eat fish, how long do you let it sit? They're mostly rancid, and so they're not tested. That's the biggest thing I have with the fish oils. Whereas you can go and get algae oil, you can get flax oil, algae oil, and algae capsules and pills. Where, like I said, where the salmon get their omega-3s from, they eat the algae and the phytoplankton that has all the omega-3s in it, the spirulina and the chlorella that has all the omega-3s in it. You can just get that in a oil capsule, and then you don't have to worry about it becoming rancid. So that's like my biggest issue with it. So like, not that it does. If you know it's fresh, there's one company called Nordic Naturals, and that's the only company that I see where they do both the algae and the fish oils, where they are conscious about, okay, this is only going to be good on the shelf for about a month, and after that, because after that point, the omega-3s you think you're getting, you're not getting, it's become rancid. It's become oxidized. So you don't have to worry about that if you get it from the algae. So that's the only issue I have, is the shelf stability with it. So it's your choice. It's your choice there. Just, again, be aware and then make your own choice.
Big jar from Costco, not good.
There are better options. I'll say that. There are better options. Yes?
Black seed oil, what category does that fit in? Black seed, the grind things, sort of like pepper.
I love black seed oil. That for me, it would fall under the category of like sea moss, like a kind of I hate to use the term superfood because they've kind of bastardized it now, but it really helps with a lot of things. I like the black seed oil bitters. I like black seed oil by itself, because not only can you take it internally, you can use it topically, you can use it in your hair. It helps for any kind of like dermatitis. It helps with so much, and it's very anti-inflammatory. Now, it's not the highest in omega-3s. And especially when it's extracted, you have to put it in a carrier oil. And so if it's not in a carrier oil, like a flax oil, where it's going to have those omega-3s, I would not use that as my source as a quote-unquote anti-inflammatory. Now, there's components in it molecularly that help to contribute towards reducing inflammation. But in terms of what I'm referring to right now, in terms of omega-3 fatty acids, it doesn't really have it in high enough proportions for it to say that could be your source, unless it has been extracted in like a flax oil or some kind of carrier oil that is very high in that. Does that make sense? Okay. Jackie?
What about the grinding it, like pepper?
Yes. Yes.
Is that a good way to carry it?
No. So again, that would speak for overall health. Which would include anti-inflammatory properties, but it's not its main purpose. It's to whatever's wrong in your body, it helps to balance it out. That's what it does. It's like an adaptive food, like when you take an adaptive herb, huh?
Flaxseed meal.
Yes, you can put that over anything. Yes, yes, definitely keep it refrigerated. Jackie, you had a question?
Okay, that black seed bitters. Now, would that be one of the ones that you could use for the sugar
addiction? Yes. Definitely. I'm sold out. I can tell you, I have an apothecary, and I carry stuff like that, and so, but it has to sit for like a month or two so it gets extracted. So I guess I had to start advertising. I'll let y'all know when we come back. But I have a whole like bookcase full of stuff like that. Okay. Yes. Yes. Your nuts and seeds should be refrigerated to prevent rancidity. Especially if you if you're a Nigerian like me, like a hot house, and your room temperature is a little hot, it'll go rancid faster. So you want to make sure that when you buy like your nuts and seeds, you put them in a freezer. Like if you buy like cashews, whatever, put them in a freezer. They don't clump together. And then like hemp seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds, you keep them in the refrigerator. And you can freeze them as well, but because I use them all the time, you just keep them in the refrigerator, and they'll last way longer.
Because when you said that, I had some flax in it, and I noticed how it first looks like a seed.
Yeah.
Now it's like brown powder.
It's a wrap on that one. The medicinal properties that you bought it for are long gone. Oh, okay. Yo, we went kind of late on our thing. Okay. All right, any other questions? Because we got to get to cooking. Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for you all being so engaged and all that. So we have 3 recipes today. They should be rather easy. We're starting up now. Again, for those who weren't here last week, I don't know why on my website it's not putting them in order that I'm putting them in. So you have to scroll for forever to find the recipes today, but they are there. Okay, when we come back, hopefully I'll have that figured out, but I don't know why, because on the back end it shows right, but on the public side it's all mixed up. I don't know what it is. I'm sure it's operator error, but I don't know. Okay, so we're going to do some island or Jamaican rice and peas. Oh, there's no chair? Okay. Okay. Yeah. We got a smile from Leon, y'all. Okay, that's gold. We're going to do some Jamaican steamed cabbage. And then by request, we're going to do the sunflower seed butter cheesecake. Okay. Okay. So, yes, let me wash my hands and get us started. Put on my little thing. And then this time you all can go to thenaijagoddess.com, click on recipes, and then you can scroll for your life to find where it says, I call it island rice and peas. So I got this recipe from a Jamaican American who is vegan, a vegan bodybuilder. So it's as authentic as we can get it. So. Okay. We're going to do this one first because we're cooking it with brown rice, and this is actually in his recipe. He's doing it with brown rice. And so brown rice just takes a little bit longer. And we're using brown basmati rice today. And then I brought this too. I was passed around because some people don't think about it, but you can buy organic rice. Okay. It's right beside the regular rice. But just so you're aware, so you can see if it's passed that around. All right. I should have had this thing on. I always do it every week. Okay. That's probably not thinking about it. But that's at Food Line. I think I got that one from Food Line. They have it at every grocery store I've been to. They've had that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I have all of our, what is it? Do you all recall what this is called when we have everything prepped so that when you start cooking, like, are you a person that goes in the kitchen and you look at a recipe like, okay, I need to go get this, and you go and get that, and you come back and you pour it in, and then he's like, oh, I need this. And Yvonne. So before you cook, ideally, you want to make sure you have all your stuff out, because one, it will let you know if you don't have all the ingredients, and two, it will go much smoother. Okay. So what is this called? Who recalls what we call this? It's a French term that we use in the United States for our culinary cuisine. What is this called? It's 3 little words.
Being prepared.
And that's what it means in English. It's called mise en place. Mise en place. M-I-S. It's the first word. E-N is the second word. And it looks like place. P-L-A-C-E is place. Mise en place. Okay? So anybody, all you have to say is mise en place. That means get all your stuff together. Okay? Mise en place. Okay? So if you go to culinary school, you spend all day doing mise en place for real. Yeah? What do you say?
You know what, when you look at it and think about it,
Uh-huh.
it's like almost like saying, me is in place.
Now I'm going to think of that. So you want to make sure you do this because it ends up saving you time, okay? You don't want to say, crap, now I got to chop an onion real quick and you already have your pot hot and if you're doing yourself a treat by cooking for yourself something wholesome, so take the extra step, okay? Planning always goes a long way. Now, this same Jamaican said two things that was interesting to me. So, you know, Caribbean, West African, and Indian cuisines kind of overlap on certain ingredients, okay? We like our peppers, okay? So if you notice in our West African part of the class, and now within the Caribbean part of the class, pretty much every recipe will require a Scotch bonnet or 2 or 10, okay? So Scotch bonnets are not easy to find here. So the next best thing when they're not in season are these habaneros, right? I don't love them as much because with the Scotch bonnet, even though you get the heat, you get the fruity flavor of the actual vegetable. You can taste it, whereas this is more heat. I don't taste as much fruit. So what he does in the recipe he provided, he adds like a half teaspoon of coconut sugar to give you the fruitiness with the heat to put it. So that's one of the things. So that part would make it, if you see other rice and pea variations, you may not see that because they're probably actually using real Scotch bonnet. But to emulate the Scotch bonnet kind of subtle sweetness, just a little dab of coconut sugar with this. So that's why you see it here. He also said because even though he's Jamaican, he does not have a whole lot of spice tolerance because that's that American side coming through too much. He does this. He'll pierce with a knife the habanero and put it in whole. Or you can slice it in half, and then after they're finished being cooked, we take them out so that this will let off a lot more heat. So I brought 2 to see if you wanted to try both or one or the other. Both. So one pierced and one sliced in half, and then we remove them. Okay. So I got to make sure it's not just the squeaky wheels saying that. We'll make sure there's a consensus on that. Okay, what else is different about this recipe? So you always hear rice and peas, but when you look at it, it's beans, right? Because peas are botanically different from beans. But most Jamaican rice and peas actually use red kidney beans. The other substitute or the other thing you'll find, they'll use pigeon peas, which are harder to find that aren't canned in the United States. So in a brine, which changes the flavor. They do. So you can do this. So that's another option. So if you can do the same recipe and you can use pigeon peas or you can use dark red kidney beans. Okay, and they are organic. You can buy organic beans. And it's always best to make the beans yourself. Now in this, because this is not my recipe, this is his recipe. In this recipe, he says to put the beans in while the rice is cooking, and especially with this being brown rice and cooked for a long time, I'm going to put in some of the beans and I'm going to put the rest of the beans in when it's finished, because when I eat rice and beans, it should have texture. Like when we made the ewariro, the Nigerian beans, they're supposed to be mushy. This is not supposed to be mushy. And so because these are already pre-cooked canned beans, they're going to become total mush. So I'm going to put these in a little bit later, even though the recipe doesn't say it because it's not my recipe. All right. Just wanted to give you that heads up. And I'm doubling the recipe because, okay. And yeah.
So if you can, you want to do your kidney beans really fresh, not canned.
The taste is better. The texture is night and day. It's a night and day difference. Just like with the Nigerian beans, like when you make the beans, it's a night and day difference. Night and day difference. Okay. And so now when I get started, 'cause now it's hot. You know, this stove is just so all over the daggone place. Lord have mercy. So if you look at the ingredients and the ingredients we've done the last few weeks from all the island recipes, what similarities are you seeing in the ingredients to create a flavor profile? All right. Remember, we don't talk about seasoning, we talk about flavor profiles. What are you noticing? What kind of onions?
Green onions.
Yes. Green onions. Green onions, what else is part of that flavor profile?
Garlic.
Garlic, a little bit, yes. Thyme. What else? It's been very consistent. I am using it today. Not in this particular recipe, but I am using it for the next recipe. What else? So remember, we try not to use oil. The vegetables have plenty of oil. Plenty of water. And you just don't need it. Use it with intention, like we're going to use in the next recipe. And I didn't even have to pour water in there. I could just put it in here straight, but I wasn't trying to brown these, so that's why I added the water. If I wanted to have color to it, I would have left it dry, and then the water would come out by itself and it would brown. And the browning of any fruit or vegetable, or even meat, if you're doing that, anytime you see a browning, that's called the Maillard reaction. I don't know if that's getting too technical or not. And it's the sugars that are in any of the food, it's crystallizing, and that's where the browning comes from, and that's where they get the flavor to come from. And so with onions, you know, when it starts to brown, it gets sweeter. We don't necessarily want sweet onions for the Jamaican rice and peas, but for the steamed cabbage, we will. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you don't want it to brown, it just has more of this is going to add a depth of flavor versus it being a forefront flavor. We want it to be kind of adding to the mix, okay, but it's not the star, it's not the MVP. It's not the MVP. Okay. All right. So the one that you all are missing that's in almost any particularly Jamaican recipe are allspice. Okay. And so most American recipes you will see, if they do it, it's usually around Christmas time or something like that, part of the, the mix with cinnamon and nutmeg and allspice. But allspice berries, because it's just like, it looks kind of like a black peppercorn, because these grow on trees and they're dried and then they ground them, and that's what how you see it. But in the same regular grocery store, you have the whole berry, okay? So like last when we made the jerk that had pre-done, it was with the allspice berries. And so for those of you who have graduated to using a pepper mill instead of using that tin can stuff that just has no flavor, you notice it's a huge difference in terms of flavor. It's the same thing with the allspice berries, because again, with most ground spices in most grocery stores, how many years has it been sitting there? The flavor has been diluted. The volatile oils in it that gives it its je ne sais quoi or whatever, it's evaporated. Okay, so you want to try to always do this. So in this rice, we're gonna put in these berries and then we'll take them out at the end. Okay. All right. So who's keeping me accountable to doing this right? Who's following along? Okay, so I put in garlic and onions and what else?
Garlic cloves.
Ooh, I didn't mean to put all that garlic in like I used for the next recipe. Okay. All right, so if I heard you all correctly, you all said to do both. Am I getting a clear consensus? If you don't want to say it out loud, you can nod your head. You said no? Okay, so would you rather it be pierced or chopped in half? Pierced? Okay. Can I pierce it twice? Okay. All right, so we'll put the pierced one. So we're going to let this one just hang out for next time? Okay, that's fine. Did it say to add the allspice berries in too? Yes. Okay. So I'm doubling the recipe. Thank you. And that adds, again, depth of flavor, and you will be able to smell it in a second. All right, I'm going to add in the scallions. So I've doubled the scallions, or green onions, spring onions, whatever you want to call it. The thyme. So I'm going to put this whole thing of thyme in because we're going to take them all out, so I don't have to take them all off the leaf. Yep, so they're all going to come out. You said black pepper and what else? Okay. So when you salt your vegetables, salt will release water that's in it. So if that's something you're wanting to do, then you can do that. Or if you're salting for seasoning purposes, then you can decide what time in the process you want to season it. So if you season in the beginning, it's adding depth of flavor, but it's also increasing the sodium count in the recipe. If you season at the end, it's for flavor and it decreases the overall sodium count in the recipe. If you go to culinary school, they will always tell you to season as you go. And when they say season, they mean salt, to season as you go. And then so at the end of the day of the recipe, you have a lot of salt in there that you actually don't taste. It's just background flavor, and then you end up adding more salt at the end. So when you're eating this way, we try to wait as late as possible to add the salt. So because I've already water sauteed this, if I put salt on the onions right now, it'll sweat out, and I'm trying to dry it back up before we add the next thing. So just so you're aware, I don't know if y'all can smell that, but that smells good to me. Okay. What else am I putting in here right now? Okay. Was it a teaspoon? How much was it? Okay. All right. You cook better than me, I'm sure. Most of y'all in here cook better than me. I've had the pleasure of eating a lot of y'all's food, and it's like, why y'all coming to this class? Y'all are killing the game. It's a mutual feeling. Okay, what else? Go ahead and add the, okay, we're gonna wait on the beans. Add the rice. Are y'all reading this right? Y'all not sounding confident. Huh? Okay. Like, y'all sounding real unsure. I say, isn't it written it out? Okay. So this is our brown basmati organic rice. Okay. And I actually picked this up because Gastonia, man, it's coming up. It's a country town, but it's coming up. We've got an international market, okay? Yeah, we getting there. It's on Franklin. Yeah, so Franklin before you get to downtown, or downtown. There ain't no downtown, but what they call downtown. So we've got an Asian market. We have a international market, which is more Middle Eastern, and we have an organic marketplace, which has a lot of organic. Most of the stuff in there is organic. Okay, and then we're gonna add the coconut milk, right? No, this is a brand new family. Yep, and they are delightful, and they are also on Instagram. Y'all can follow them, Gaston International. Yeah, so husband, wife, and brother and his wife that run it, and they are super sweet and. Yeah, absolute pleasure. And it's very clean in there, very well organized. I liked it a lot. And you can get all your spices and beans and stuff in there way cheaper. So I'm like, oh, I don't have to drive all the way out to Super G for most of this stuff. So that was a great thing. Well, we're talking about Gastonia, so it ain't that far. But 6-7 minutes, huh? No, it's like right off of Franklin. It's off of Franklin Boulevard. Yeah, so when you're getting off the highway at New Hope, if you stay straight, you'll run into Organic Marketplace. If you take a left turn right onto Franklin, you just drive down, and it's on the left. Gas, and it's a gray brick building. Yep. Yes.
How does that coconut milk compare with the other spices?
Come again?
How does the coconut milk, is it sweet?
Okay. From a culinary standpoint, coconut's going to be considered sweet. At the end of the day, is this going to be a sweet rice dish? Absolutely not. But if you were to taste it, does it have because it's a fruit, I mean, it has some sweetness to it, but it mellows everything out. It balances the flavor. So if we had real spice in this dish, like we should, it mellows it all out. And this is very common. It's another common ingredient you're going to see in Caribbean cuisine is coconut milk, which they normally use fresh coconut milk, which is sweeter. But it just a complement. This is something you're going to see in the flavor profile of the Caribbean. You're going to see Scotch bonnet, you're going to see coconut milk, you're going to see scallion, you're going to see thyme, and allspice. Those are the components to make sure you have the proper Caribbean thing.
It's so refreshing to see that you can buy the stuff off the shelf. I remember having to go home and carry extra tote bags, strong ones, to load up on stuff.
Oh,
But
yeah.
the ingredients, you couldn't find the ingredients down here 30 years ago.
30 years ago?
Yeah, when I came to North Carolina, couldn't find it.
Yeah, that sounds right. See, I'm having to use tap. 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's supposed to be a 1.25 cups of water?
Yeah.
All right, so I gotta double that because I doubled the rice, so.
Some of the Jamaicans, what they do is they actually get the real coconut and get to put the milk from the coconut right into the rice. Yeah.
And it tastes so much better.
Yeah.
Night and day difference. We do that for,
They're even selling the young, what I call the young coconut, where you're gonna get the more milk and juice and the meat from now in the store.
yeah, I have a whole freezer full of it.
Jelly?
Again,
Yeah, the jelly, yeah.
oh, I'm talking about the actual coconut. No, I'm
No,
a
the
coconut
jelly
head.
inside, that's the meat, you open it up.
On the young ones, the jelly, yeah. I have the mix of young and mature coconuts. So yeah, that's a staple. Okay, so what's the next thing?
Boil, cover, and then simmer for 25 to 30 minutes until the liquid is cooked up.
Okay, let's let this come up to a boil, and then we'll turn that down. And once I turn it down, I will need someone to put their timer on for 20 minutes or so. And then we'll add in the beans, since y'all are on board with that, waiting so it's not soggy beans. Okay, so while that's happening, so I keep my eye on that. Let's get this cabbage going. So you do not have to have an Instant Pot to do this recipe. I just like to make my life easier, okay? You can totally do this exact thing on the stovetop. It'll just take a little bit longer to cook, and then you can get it to your desired texture. So we talked about, I think it was last week, when you're eating vegetables, of course you want to eat vegetables as raw as possible. The next best thing will be some type of light steaming, right? So we're going to steam our vegetables in the Instant Pot. And this is a Jamaican version of steamed cabbage. So the first thing I'm going to do, and you probably can't see it from there, Roy, I know you can't. I'm going to turn on the saute function. It gets the Instant Pot up to speed very quickly. Now, for those of you who are familiar with the Instant Pot, sometimes, it'll say, oh, you want to cook it for 1 minute, but it takes 20 minutes for it to heat up, okay? Which was very deceptive when I first got it. You want to make sure if you turn on saute first, it will drastically reduce the time it takes to come up to pressure. So even if you're not having to saute something, just as soon as you know you're going to do it, put saute on, then put your stuff in, and then put on the high pressure or whatever pressure you're going to use, and then it'll come up to pressure like very quickly. So right now what we're going to do, this is where we're going to use oil with intention. So I said coconut oil, but you all know I've been in love with this sesame oil since I knew y'all probably weren't going to go for the full heat. So had to get a little something in there, right? So we have the oil. And then I prefer black mustard seeds, but I have these yellow mustard seeds. And so as soon as the oil gets a little bit of a shimmer to it, oh, actually, I'm just going to put it in. Can y'all see this at all? Yeah. Okay. Oh, so I'll just go ahead and do it. So when this kind of starts to pop a little bit, and this just adds depth of flavor. Okay, so this is an extra ingredient that Annie threw in, but not necessarily Jamaican. All right, so once that gets a little bit hot, just give that a second. Then we'll add in our onion. So I have 1 onion that I just sliced. I have 2 bell peppers sliced. And these were some monster, okay. Of course. Right. And so the thing is, we normally want to buy our produce small. Like when there's organic, like Leon's saying, when it's organic, they tend to be smaller, which means they have more nutrients. When they're bigger like this, it means it's more water. It means it's less flavor. So I didn't want these huge ones, but the only ones they had were that were organic were the huge ones. And I hate when they do organic and they put it in a plastic bag. I'm like, y'all are killing me. They'll individually wrap the organic ones. I don't all the wastage, but anyway. So it's 2 of those. I probably could have just done 1 because it was just so large. So I sliced it using our technique that I've shown you all a few times on how to cut the bell pepper. And then I have 2 heads of medium cabbage, of course organic. Hopefully I don't have to keep saying that at this point because y'all know me by now with that. Okay, just gonna add in a little thyme. Okay, I hear activity, so y'all know food's coming. Okay. So in the traditional, in all the recipes that I found, what I found common in every recipe is what I put in this recipe. So minus the mustard seed, because that's like I said, is my thing. But they had carrots, bell pepper, and they usually a mix of red, green, orange and red, but you know I can't do the green bell pepper. I just can't do it. And the cabbage and onion. So, and of course thyme, because thyme is a staple in Caribbean flavor. So now you all hear it popping, right? Yeah. All right. So now we're, as the saying goes, cooking with grease. All right. So now, anytime you put a fat and add any kind of spice to it, it's called blooming. Okay. So if you ever read a recipe that says to bloom such and such. Oh, okay. Thank you all. All right. So now it says what? Turn it down and do what? Simmer. Okay. Okay. So who's setting the timer for? Set your timer for 25 minutes. Okay. So now we got our onions in here. Y'all can see? Okay. And you see it has already got color to it, and there's no water added to it because it's hot, and so it'll start to caramelize immediately. And then the longer you do it, the sweeter it gets and all that, but we're not going for that. All right. Add in our bell pepper. And this is more for texture. I know growing up I used to like soggy cabbage, and I thought that's how you're supposed to eat it. Didn't realize it was soggy. But you do you. As long as you're getting some vegetables in there to you, you can work your way up to non-soggy cabbage. Okay. All right, so now we got this in here. This is 2 medium heads of cabbage, organics. They were kind of small. And then instead of chopping up an actual carrot, I would have put that in because I already had this bag of shredded carrots. I'm going to put those in at the end for additional texture because if I put them in now, they're going to get completely soggy. All right. And we only have to add about 1/4 to 1/2 cup of water because these vegetables are so full of water and we're already going to steam it. So we don't have to kill it with the water. So where's my measuring cup I just had? Did y'all see it? Oh, here it is. Okay. I'm going to add. She okay? Okay. And then I'm going to add half the seasonings now, half later, but you can do it all at once. Because I'm doubling this. That was the all-purpose seasoning. And you can do a regular, like a Lowry's all-purpose seasoning, but that has salt, a lot of salt in it. So just be careful if you're going to add additional salt. I'm going to add the salt at the end on this as well. And my new favorite all-purpose seasoning is this Badia Complete. When we did the chickpea salad, this is the seasoning I put on that you all really liked.
They got a tropical version of that too.
Where?
I got it at my house. I can't tell you where I got it from, and it sure is good.
Will you take a picture and send it to me?
Okay, I sure can.
Okay. I have, if y'all knew how much seasonings that I have in my house. Okay. Always experimenting. All right, so now I'm taking off saute. I'm going to put it on pressure cook for 1 minute on high, pressure level high. Cancel. High. All right. And put it on venting, and then we're done with that. So y'all gonna be eating soon. Okay, so while that's happening, it'll come up to pressure. This is called an Instant Pot. This is if you want to eat healthy and not have so much oil and stuff, you can do that. You can do everything in the Instant Pot. You can actually bake in the Instant Pot as well. There are lots of recipes. This is a pressure cooker, but it does more than standard pressure cooker. Okay, so for Sharon, our dessert of the day, our dessert of the day, by request, I think by Jackie or Deb.
Talked about bitter so much, I think I'm ashamed.
Don't be shamed. Don't be shamed. Let me wash my hands again. I forgot my hair tie. So I don't want to touch my hair and then the food. Okay. Yeah, it smells pretty daggone good. Okay. All right. So we're gonna make this cheesecake. So obviously there's no dairy in it. So I think at this point you all kind of know that by now. Every week someone keeps stealing my measuring cups, and it's like the cup one was stolen, then the half cup was stolen. Now I'm down to a quarter cup. Yeah. Anyway, so of course not for you all because I had to make a bigger one, but this recipe, that's all you need. Okay, this is a 5-inch spring-form pan. So if you're not familiar with the spring-form pan, this comes out, and this is how you can serve your cheesecake like this. You put it back in, and then you snap this, and then do it on here. Okay, this is the pan that they use for most traditional cheesecakes. All right, and so in a real cheesecake, I hate to say real, but in a real cheesecake, you cook it what's called a bain marie, which is what we did when we did the moi moi, which means a water bath in French. So you would put your cheesecake in here, you would put it in some water, and that helps make sure that the cheesecake is cooking evenly. So there's no hot spots like there are in most ovens. So because we're making this cheesecake, I'm still using this, but it's more so that it's easy to serve because it just comes out. You don't have to kind of cut through the ridges or whatnot. So this will serve 6 people. Okay. 6. Just like this is not an individual portion. Let's be very clear. Okay? So just like when we did the stuffed dates, 2 dates is a serving. All right? So why? 1, because you don't want to overindulge on sweets. It's a nice to have. It's not your meal. Okay? That's number 1. Number 2, so dates, as healthy as they are, they're very nutrient dense and they're very calorically dense. All right? So we want to be mindful of that. And then when you add any kind of nut or seed butter, it's very calorically dense. Though it's nutrient dense, it's very calorically dense, okay? So based off this, 1 slice would be 245 calories. Not that we're calorie driven, right? But if you eat this whole thing, you're eating a lot of calories, okay? All right, because it's like eating a half can of peanut butter and eating 6 dates and then eating a whole half cup of pumpkin seeds. It's a lot of fat. It's the good stuff, but it is a treat. It is an indulgence. This is not for you. Okay, so I want to make sure we're clear on that. Huh? Here comes the negotiations.
By 3 o'clock.
There we go.
You have to eat a salad with that. Okay, I love salad with it. Then you walk for a whole hour.
Thank you, Coretta. I made this one for you all, okay? Okay. All right. So I'm gonna let this sit out so it can so by the time this is done, this will be ready, all right? And this pops right out, and these are edible flowers, all right, like you see in the picture. Okay. So technically there should be leftovers based on the number of people here. Just saying, I'm just saying. Okay. Okay.
If you don't have a pressure cooker and you don't have an Instant Pot,
Yeah.
can you just let that simmer?
Absolutely.
How long would you let it
About 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
And only still add a very little bit of water because there's still a lot of water in the cabbage. Yep, and then make sure you put a lid on it for at least the first 10 minutes. Yes. Okay, so we're clear. Okay, it's not gobble, gobble, gobble. All right. So since we're clear on that.
That was a beautiful presentation.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's not my strongest skill set. I was thinking I was going to do a cascade, and then halfway through, I was like, oh, it's turned into a pie slice, so let me just finish it out. That's what happened. Okay, thank you. Well, good. Okay, so we have these amazing organic, raw pumpkin seeds, right? Of course, not salted. Of course, not roasted. And why not roasted particularly? Yes, it kills the nutrients. So what's the temperature that kills nutrients? So anything above 118, you're degrading the nutrients. It's not considered raw at that point. Anything raw, because raw doesn't mean just right off the ground, just by itself. You can use a dehydrator or whatnot. If it's above 118 degrees, it's not considered raw anymore. Okay. So tell me, who's looking at the recipe? How much is this? Pumpkin seeds. Yep.
3/4 cups.
All right. So it's my second one. And here's my third one. Okay, so that's our pumpkin seeds. Super good for you. When you think of pumpkin seeds, what's one of the top nutrients in pumpkin seeds that you should be having in your diet? No, but it's on the other side of calcium. Yes. Yes, it's a great source of magnesium. Of course, it's also a great source of protein. It's also a great source of the fatty acids. All right, so normally I use medjool dates. It's my favorite. But when I went to our new Gaston International Market and talked to some real authentic folks from the Middle East, and she was from Pakistan, who owns it, and she gave me a whole history about dates more than I knew, and she's like, the best dates in the world, you know how they say that the best avocados come from California. You know, there's like the best oranges come from Florida, that type of thing. She says the best dates come from Saudi Arabia. They have some of the oldest date palm trees in the world, as you already knew that part. And so she said the ones that are better than the medjool dates are called sukari. That's how you say it, sukari. Sukari dates. So I had to get them and try them. I said, girl, you're going to have me spend all my money up in here. So I made the crust with these sukari dates, but of course you can use medjool dates or neglect dates or whatever dates you want, okay? They are smaller than medjool dates, and she says sweeter, but they have a different type of sweetness to it. I can't put my finger on just yet. Yeah.
Can you spell that?
Yes, Sukkary. Sukkary. The English translation is orchid dates. There's I forgot how many hundreds of species of dates. There's so many species of dates. They have many of them that you don't see in the regular grocery stores, which is why I like to go to ethnic markets. And these were just delightful. So, and it came in a cool package, and yeah, I was pretty much sold. They got me. This is what I spend my money on. I don't shop. I don't buy clothes. I don't buy shoes. I don't buy cars. But grocery stores. Yeah. I'm like, baby, I'm just going to go to the store. I'm just going to get one thing. I come back with a whole carload of stuff. That happens frequently. All right. How many dates did I say?
4.
All right. All right. So you see these are still nice and smudgy, woodgy, like the medjool dates that I love. And I've told you all before, it's best, in my personal opinion, this is not backed by science, okay? My personal opinion, I think it's best to buy them with the pits in because when they're already removed, they get dry really quickly, okay? All right. We said, is this 4 already? All right, well, okay, well, it's 5 because I wasn't counting. All right. And I can pass these around so y'all can look at them. Don't try to steal my dates, y'all. What else? And it was like a half tablespoon of maple should be in there, right?
Yeah, 5 tablespoons of maple syrup.
It should be a half, 0.5.
It says 4.5.
In the directions, but it says divided.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Okay, so just a note. Anytime you see a recipe and it says oil, 2 tablespoons of oil divided, that means you're going to use it at 2 different points in the recipe. So you're not going to put the whole point. So if you read the directions, the first thing, it should say a half, I think, tablespoon of maple syrup. And then the remainder of the maple syrup is for the filling. Okay? So anytime you see divided, that's why when you do your mise en place, okay, you catch those things. Okay? Y'all with me?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to do a little glug like that. All right, and then we're going to just post this up. So that was great. I was going to scrape down the sides to get those other seeds in there, and then that's it. This is our crust. So this is a nut-free dessert. You can do this with sunflower seeds. It will taste different. You can do this with whatever nut or seed you want. And that's it. So I brought this whole food processor for those 2 seconds. All right. And this really doesn't take long to make, as you all can already see. All right. So we have our... Y'all are funny. Okay. And this by itself, this is really good. Like to put this like on top of some like cereal or in a trail mix or something like that. It's very delicious. Now see, I've made too much for this. Because this one is, I said a 5-inch pan. My 5-inch pan I was using for something else. This is actually a 4.5-inch pan. Okay, y'all know I went to culinary school. Y'all know I was a chef and all that. So I have everything, but you can find, I see these most often at like Michael's, where they have like the Wilton stuff. I see those a lot there.
I tell you what else might carry too is Aldi's and Lidl's carry some of those little individuals, because I've got several of them.
Oh, I never even considered them for cookware. Yes, I was very disappointed. You probably could. I'm gonna be very honest. I'm very bougie when it comes to this kind of stuff, right? I'm a Sur La Table, Williams & Sonoma, Crate and Barrel. Like, give me all those types of things. A Container Store. I'm there for all of that. And so when I go to those other places, I'm just like, I have to. It takes. It's like that's why I hate going to like TJ Maxx and Marshalls, even though they have great. I don't want to spend my time going through rack after rack. I don't want to do that. I wanted to just go in and see stuff that's set up right and get it and go. Yeah. I spend my time. I don't have that much kind of time. Okay, so y'all see that was very simple. Can y'all see that?
Yes.
Y'all see? All right. And also, I don't know if y'all realize, this is a raw dessert, okay? So a lot of times people think of raw, you're thinking of not the right things, but this is a raw dessert. Raw desserts are really big in Charlotte. There are a lot of places that sell raw desserts, and so they're very good. They're very healthy, but again, they're very nutrient dense. They're always going to be in small proportions because of the ingredients, okay? All right. So now we're going to do our filling. All right. So for this size, I use my Vitamix. And so because it's just for this size, oops, for this size, I'm just using the NutriBullet. Okay. So in this one, I used the Kite Hill is a non-dairy yogurt brand. I used the Kite Hill unsweetened Greek style yogurt for it. And I'm using yolks. So I found out years ago, this is from pastry chef days, when you mix a nut or seed butter with yogurt, it feels and tastes like a cheesecake. It gives you that taste. And what takes it over the top to make it that tanginess that you get in a cheesecake is that you add an acid. Oh, thank you, baby. You add an acid, so our acid will be lemon juice. When you put those three together, it tastes like a cheesecake, at least from what I recall. I might hear just say it tastes exactly like anything because I might for that. And pre-lifestyle change, I wasn't a cheesecake fan at all, actually. It wasn't my jam. Yeah, so the point I was making with that, I used all the Greek yogurt I had on this one. And so this morning, I just ran out and they didn't have the Kite Hill little small ones that are unsweetened. So the yogurt that I like if I don't make it is this Yoplait coconut yogurt, but it is sweetened. So I only had this much of the Kite Hill unsweetened, which is what's in this one, but it wasn't enough. So I was like, well, I'll just have to use this one then, and then I'll just use this for something else at the house. So here I have I think it's 3/4 cup of sunflower seed butter. Is it 3/4 cup? Yes? No? Maybe so? 3/4 cup? Okay. So all we're going to do, we're going to pour in, and it's a 1/2 cup of yogurt, correct? Yeah. Okay, so we're going to take the 1/2 cup of yogurt, the 3/4 cup of sunflower seed butter, and the juice of this lemon, and the remainder of the maple syrup, and blend it, and that's our cheese filling. Okay, and then some vanilla extract, I believe, yeah. Yep, and that's it. It's very simple to make. The only thing it takes is time because it has to, you freeze it because it's a raw thing. So you let it sit out, get the kind of like roomish temperature so you can slice it, and you have your cheesecake. So it takes a lot less time than a traditional cheesecake. All right, so first thing I'm gonna do is put the sunflower seed butter in. You all have seen me use this before. Now, if you want this to be a peanut butter cheesecake, use peanut butter. If you want this to be whatever, Absolutely. Hazelnut is great. You can also use, and this will be an indulgent one because this one, even though it's vegan, is not healthy, Biscoff. So I really do like the flavor of Biscoff. So I've done a Biscoff cheesecake with this same recipe and it tastes very good. If you like Biscoff, then you will really like that. If you like hazelnut butter, the non-dairy Nutella, it tastes good with this as well. 3 minutes, okay. That's 25 minutes already. I swear time flies when you're having so much fun, right? Okay, make sure I get all that. The rare times I get stuff like this, my dog loves to lick this glass. He waits for me to finish it, and it's like, all right, mommy, you know what the deal is. So I have to oblige him. For those that don't, I have three little puppies. I have the eldest, the one I'm talking about. He is a miniature dachshund. He is 14 and sweet. His name is Johann Sebastian, named after my favorite cello composer. As you all know, I was a professional cellist for many years, or most of my life rather. And then the next eldest is Miles, named after Miles Davis for my husband, because he's a jazz bass player. And he is a mix of Boston Terrier and French Bulldog, all of 19 pounds. And sweet and all that. He's our site foreman. So we have my husband, we're real estate agents, and we have a construction company, commercial construction company. And so Miles is our site foreman. He goes on site. He has his little vest. And he knows he likes to report for duty. He really does. He goes to work every day with his daddy. Oh, there it is. And then my little baby, I have a Chihuahua. His name is Alexander for Alexander the Great because he runs all the dogs at 4 pounds. 4 pounds, and he's the boss. So I have a 4-pounder, a 7-pounder, and a 19-pounder. And they're all very sweet. So, all right, so the lemon juice is essential to making it taste cheesecakey-ish. Okay. And then, how many tablespoons of maple syrup did I say?
Well, for what?
It's 4 or 3.
Well, for the lemon,
No, for the maple syrup.
Or maybe.
Y'all not reading the rest. Y'all got to read. Okay, that's part of the mise en place. Yes, Irene?
1.5 tablespoons divided.
Right, we used to have.
Yeah, she
We are
already
used to.
0.5 press.
Y'all. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. You had a question, Irene?
No.
Oh, okay. Did I put it in already? Thank you. Okay, I thought I did. Okay. Thank you. You see, keep me on track. The rice is done. All right, let's get this filling in real quick. That's their cheesecake. Okay. I will say and confess, I made this last night. It tastes great just like this. Okay. Dwayne and I have fun licking the bowl or whatever. Okay, I need you on this. All right, I don't even try anymore. It's not even worth it. Okay. Let's see how this is.
Yeah, at home with your gadgets, you would have that silicone thing, you know.
Oh, for the lemon? Now, see, I only need a tablespoon of lemon, and so that's why I just cut it in half, and I didn't try to extra juice it because I didn't need all that much. But yeah, I would do that. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and take out these thyme leaves. Oh, I already took it out, babe.
I'll collect it after class.
Yes, ma'am. I forgot about these. I would have kept the bag up here. The only other thing I would have added in this one would be a bay leaf. But that wasn't in his recipe, but in my rendition, I would add that. Thank you, babe. I think that's it.
We're waiting with baby breath.
Hmm?
We're waiting with bated breath. Bated breath.
Now, if you get an allspice berry, if I don't get them all out, don't chew it. Okay, it does not taste great. Okay, just for a warning. It's looking pretty daggone good though. Let's see how it tastes.
Now, I had friends over last night for dinner.
Uh-huh.
Everything on the menu was your recipes.
Wow.
I started with the kale salad, and then I had the tempeh bananas.
Ooh.
They love that. And
Ooh.
asparagus, and then the gooey chocolate bars for dessert.
What? Oh my God.
They thought it was great.
You did too? That's the most important. Wow.
They're vegetarians, they're not vegans. The tempeh dish is delicious. It's a lot of chopping though. Yeah. A lot of chopping.
Yeah.
I forget how long it takes to prep versus cook.
True. And you can get one of those like chopper things if you're not. So like here, I chop fast, but this shelf is very low and I don't feel comfortable. So if you're not comfortable like chopping low, get one of those little like chopper things or those and it goes way, way faster. Or, you know, you get your knife skills up and then you can just fly through it. Either way.
Tempeh bananas?
It's the national dish of Indonesia.
It's in the recipe. It's sweet soy sauce.
So you found the sweet soy sauce?
Yeah, I found that at the Asian market.
Yep. Yep. Oh, Mike, you just warm my heart. That is awesome. Okay, let's see. Did this go off? I hadn't put salt in it yet. Just want to make sure the brown rice is cooked all the way. It is cooked all the way. That's good.
So just put the carrots in there or not?
Carrot's gonna go on that.
Oh, in that one. Okay, all right.
Yeah, the main thing, right? Thank you for that.
It should be over here.
In my blind spot. Okay. And definitely need salt. Oh, I didn't add the garlic to the cabbage. Yeah, you gotta let the steam out. It's the first one, yep. Oh, we finally get to eat all together. And y'all stay awake most of the time. Okay. I taste literally no heat in this, so. Yeah. Okay. You just let it, just turn it, it'll keep going by itself. Yeah, no. Yeah, that's it. Just leave it. Yeah. Okay, so just to finish this out, all we do is just pour this on top.
Oh, yeah, I'm afraid of it.
Y'all see? Yeah. And then you can put edible flowers or whatever fruit or whatever you want on top and just put it in the freezer. It's cooked. There's some of this filling left over. Y'all want to taste it warm, you know, and get a spoon. As long as there's no double dipping. Okay. All right. So that's here for anybody who wants to taste. Sharon gets to taste first. Okay. All right. How much salt did I say to add? 2 teaspoons. So I gotta double that. Make sure it's not salty though. Y'all, it really needed some pepper in this. That's the only thing really missing from it. Some pepper for sure. Red pepper flake is not authentic. But yeah, we could definitely do that, you know. This is nice and creamy. All right, so we add the garlic and the carrots, and we're gonna add more seasoning. Give that a stir. Give that a stir.
May I ask you, why do you use sea salt rather than Himalayan salt?
I have, this is a real specialty fancy salt. The most of the Himalayan salts here recently, this is just for my personal, I stopped using it exclusively because they've been tested and they've been finding microplastics in the Himalayan sea salt. So, yeah. So I stopped using it and I bought this other one that's been tested to make sure there's no heavy metals, no microplastics in it, that still has all the minerals. And so I can't remember the name of it, but that's why I switched to that.
You got one that name in it. I would've got the Himalaya, and you think it's the Himalaya.
That report came out recently in the last 6 weeks.
Yeah.
That's what it was, when I first started.
Right.
And it's gonna be more of the all-purpose seasoning or stuff.
I know, I got a bunch of them too.
Okay. All right, we're about there, y'all. We're about there. Rinse this off.
Feeling good in here.
I have a captive audience today. Tastes good, I just need some spice. Huh? I don't think it's authentic without the spice in it. You mix it all the way? Okay. Crap. It's good, it needs a little bit more salt though. And that's it. I think I only had in half the salt, but I just want to make sure it wasn't going to be too salty. The pepper should always be in every, in my opinion. Okay, I think we're good. I think, did I miss anything here? Okay, so I did not get out all the allspice berries again. So don't chew on it if you, okay. I took the pepper out. There's absolutely zero spice. You might taste something, but there's zero spice in this, rendering it unauthentic.
What would you add? What would you say would be?
3 peppers, like 3 peppers. The Scotch bonnet or habanero, for sure. For sure. No, we cut the cake last. Let them have their meal first. And then that's it. All right. So y'all ready to eat? Okay. Okay. Here it comes. Here it comes. So this is good. And technically, this is a complete meal, okay? So when we design our plates, yeah. When we design our plates, we have our fat, carbs, and protein all there, right? But half your plate should be... Yes, which is... Okay, and cabbage is also what? Cruciferous vegetable. That's even better. So it has all the cancer-fighting properties that you want in your life. So we've got that. So now you've got your cabbage, your vegetables, which should be the bulk of your plate, and you've got their rice and peas with no spice. And okay, and then when you go, if you were to go back for seconds, you get it in the same proportion. Don't go back and glop on the rice. Okay, you go back and make sure you have half your plate still with the non-starchy vegetable. Okay. All right. Let's see, Sharon. First on what? Sharon. No. Where's your cup? She has a cup. You have a cup? Okay. She's our official dessert taster.
Does she want a cup? Oh, that's good.
Okay.
Did you want a little cup? Thank you.
I wouldn't mind having more, a cup, but I'm okay.
I'll do it before.
Yeah, I'd be messed up eating my
Look, I done licked off. Oh, that's a fork, okay.
put it in there.
So you taste it's a sunflower seed butter cheesecake.
Hazelnut is my favorite.
You could
Hazelnut.
you could do the same thing with the hazelnut butter, make the same result. Okay. Anybody else wanted to taste the warm one? Yes. Yeah. Y'all got a spoon or something?
That's good. That's good.
Okay, good.
It almost gives you a taste like ranches on it.
You say ranch?
It kind of tastes like
Like creamy. Yeah, that's the coconut. Thank you.
oh wow, that's not good.
He loves the coffee.
Yeah.
You said sea salt, not Himalayan salt. You use sea salt, not Himalayan salt.
It is this particular one is a sea salt that has been tested for stuff.
Okay, because I would think with microplastics, plastics are in the ocean, so why
Right.
would the Himalayan salt have it?
Exactly. That's what happened. So all the pollution, it started getting into there. Huh?
It's in the air.
It got into the mountains and all the pollution got into there. Because they were like, why are there starting to be microplastics in Himalayan salt, which is in the mountains?
Air, I guess. Right?
No, it gets into the ground.
It gets into the ground.
It gets into the ground.
Jesus.
They did a whole thing on it. I was like, well, this is ridiculous. And like one of the teachers at my school had told me about it. I was like, but that's in the mountains. How is it? How's these? Yeah, and then I was like, every time you turn around.
Every
Yeah.
time you turn around, you're right.
And that's probably just being overly cautious, but
What is that?
this is just the cheesecake filling before it's cooled. If people want to try, you want to try it?
Sure.
All right. Y'all ready for cheesecake? For those who tasted the warm cheesecake, what are your thoughts? Chocolate? It's sunflower seed butter. But you could use peanut butter or hazelnut, whatever nut butter or seed butter you want. I can see that. I can see that.
This little round thing, is that the mustard seed?
Yeah, don't chew on that. I couldn't get them all out. It won't hurt you, but the flavor can be, if you're not used to it, overpowering.
Like a beer. You could put it in one of them little like
Bouquet garni.
bags,
Yeah,
like cheese, and put it in there.
definitely. Because it's for a depth of flavor. But if you use the ground allspice, the flavor would come through in a different way that's not authentic. Yep.
If you don't have allspice, you can substitute maybe a clove.
No.
They'll change the taste.
Yes.
Even if I take this bowl and put it in my coffee grinder, on top,
You want to do what with that?
put it in my coffee grinder, I can bunch it in my coffee grinder. You know, powder.
I can't speak to that. I've never made coffee. I don't drink coffee, so I don't know. The flavor would definitely come through. I mean, it's a powerful flavor. So I don't know if you want your coffee to taste like that. Yes, but in terms. Oh, I thought you were saying to make coffee with it. I was like,
You can use that for.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. I have a coffee grinder that, like I said, I don't even drink coffee, but I ground all the spices because, buying them already ground, the flavor's not there. Unless it's from like a spice shop where they intentionally keep up with the freshness. Yeah. Nope, this comes out.
Pops out.
Yep.
Oh, I see, okay. Here,
Let me show the people.
okay.
And see? My large springform pan would have been, I thought, too much for the class because it's a bigger one.
Yeah.
So.
Then it'll be
True. And by the way, these are edible flowers. So I've got pansies and violets and rosebuds. And I can't pronounce the name of the other one that it is, but they're all edible flowers. And so they have a bitterness to it to help cut through the sweetness.
Where did you get those?
Out my yard, but no, I didn't. No. No. It's a little early. No. There, you can buy from your favorite store, Mike.
Oh, Whole Foods, Whole Paycheck.
Whole thing. Those flowers, the little pack, you know, like how we have the pack of thyme, like, you know how you get they come just like that. So it's right beside like the thyme and the rosemary. You have a thing of edible flowers, and they routinely have them at Whole Foods, and it's $2 for that pack, or $2.29 I think for that pack of edible flowers. Y'all have any questions or comments? What you learned today? What you gonna make today or later on?
So with your red beans, it would probably be good to what? Maybe soak it overnight so they'll be, so when you start cooking, it's gonna be easy to break down, right?
Always want to soak your beans and grains and seeds. If you forget, if you have a pressure cooker, you don't have to soak them because the steam is going to help do what it would do for the soaking process. If you're going to cook them on the stovetop, make sure you do soak them to get rid of those lectins and whatnot. Yes.
About the lectins again, that's supposed to be disruptive. Does it cause inflammatory in our intestines?
So it's not that, for folks who are not accustomed to eating a high fiber diet, it causes a significant increase in flatulence, and it's hard for them to fully break down the beans so that they can actually absorb all of its nutrients. So when you soak them properly, it gets rid of that so that it's more digestible. You should have no or very reduced flatulence when you do that.
Thank you.
Yep.
And this is the portion we supposed to eat?
No.
There we go.
On this, about 3 of these, maybe 4, will equal 1 portion in the 6-inch, in this 5-inch thing.
Okay, now if I have 4 of these, I'll end the day my dinner.
Yeah, yeah. This is because it's so many people. Make sure everyone can get a piece. And again, I chose sunflower seed butter. I chose to do this with no nuts because pre-changing my life, I was allergic to almost everything, but I was allergic to nuts. And it was hard to find a nut-free raw dessert because they always would put pecans or walnuts or something like that, and I could never eat it. So it was important to have like a nut-free option. So you can do this with nuts. You can use whatever seed or nut butter you want. And the crust, you don't have to use pumpkin seeds. You can use sunflower seeds. You can use almonds, whatever you want. It's all interchangeable. Just the proportions you just keep the same proportions.
But I noticed you didn't soak the sunflower seeds, because I remember the other recipe, I didn't soak them, it didn't come out right.
Yeah.
Sunflower seeds are supposed to soak them, take the extra shell, protect the shell off of it.
You're right. I didn't. The one that you're eating, I did. I was just doing this one in class real quick so you can see how it's very easy to put together. Yeah. Yeah.
But this is like almost ice cream shrubbery with a twist of, say, it's cheesecake. I can eat this versus the cheesecake that Junior's gonna make it in.
I don't know juniors. I'm not familiar with juniors. Oh. So, thoughts? Huh? Yeah? Okay.
I like Cheesecake Factory.
Oh, you like cheesecake?
I like the light cheesecake. I don't like the heavy New York style.
Okay.
Yeah, this
Okay.
is really good.
Okay. Where's Heather? Did you hear that? He gave a thumbs up on the cheesecake. Yeah, that's what he's just. Okay. But what does Sharon think? Okay.
But I would make it with some nuts.
You would make it with nuts?
Because I love nuts.
Yep.
Flowers though.
You don't like the bitter?
I have a yellow flower, not a red flower.
Yeah, it's there for, of course, to be pretty, but it's also there to counter the sweet, like we talked about. You want to have bitter, so it just elevates it in that way. Yeah.
With the cheesecake, 8 already.
Okay. And it's something that feel you could do at home yourself, since you just saw me do it. It's not hard.
That's a homemade
Okay, yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
okay.
And you didn't have one piece of meat or plant-based meat look like meat.
Mm-mm.
So some people, they got to always have that meat, to make them feel that they're full.
That's when they're transitioning. They have to do that. I do that. I don't like to really do that actually, personally.
Have you done any plant-based weddings?
When I was a pastry chef, you said plant-based weddings? No, I have not. No, I have not. When I was a pastry chef, I did too many weddings. Way too many weddings. Yeah. Oh. Yep. Cameron? Yeah? Dave? Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah. That's good. That's good. Okay. All right. So our class is officially over, but I just want to make sure, what's your takeaway from our lesson plan for today with the optimizing your health, those 5 pillars? Is that something you're going to really think about when you're eating your foods and putting foods in your plate? Thinking about those things, that is it helping disease or is it aiding disease? Is it fighting disease or is it aiding disease? Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do with that. That's gonna be a good thing for your meal plan.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's gonna be I'm gonna laminate it, put it with my grocery list, and then that's gonna where I'm gonna be able to see it.
Okay. That's a good idea, Jackie.
And it's very knowledgeable for the fall, summer, winter.
Okay.
So now I can go into my fall meaning of this. The fiber, I need a lot of it, I have none of. So that helps me out a lot.
I'm glad to hear that.
And I appreciate your classes.
Oh, Yvonne, I appreciate you and Ian so much, so thank you. Okay, guys, well, class is over. Again, we won't see each other for 3 weeks. Okay?